In this video, we'll be dealing with the half note. And the half note looks very similar to a whole note because it has an open circle note head. But now we're going to add a stick, which is called a stem. The stem can be pointing up, or you can have it pointing down. Doesn't really matter which way you put it, but that's what a half note looks like. Now we're dealing with 4/4 time signature, which means that the half note is going to be worth 2 beats of sound. So what that means is there's one note for 2 beats, so we need one sound, and we're going to label this first one beat 1, and then we're going to think beat 2. Now in 4/4 time, we need to have a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. So when we get to our next half note, we're going to go to the next number, which is 3, and we're going to think the final number, which is 4. Now what I also like to do during these longer notes is draw a line across from the number you're saying until the next number that you're going to say. And while that line is going across, you're seeing that beat 2 is passing us by, and we're thinking it in our head. Same thing happens on beat 3 going into 4. So we'll draw that line there. Second measure is identical. So I'm going to write that in for you right now. And as you see, the next two measures are exactly the same also. Let's try counting letter A together. 1, 2, ready, count. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3. Why don't you try that by yourself? 1, 2, ready, go. All right, nice job. If you had trouble with that, you can rewind a little bit and try it again. For now, we're going to move on to letter B. And in letter B, this is where we're going to be dealing with not only half notes, but also half rests. Now, a half rest is also in 4/4 time worth 2 counts, but this time instead of sound, we're going to have silence. I'm going to show you what a half rest looks like. It's a rectangle, very similar to the whole rest, but instead of hanging down off of the 4th line, this one is going to stick up on top of the 3rd line. It's kind of like a little hat on the 3rd line. Okay, you can see the first whole half rest right here, and there's one in each measure of letter B. Now remember, when you have a rest, we're going to write the numbers on top. So as you see here, I'll start with our half note, which is beat 1 and 2. And then beats 3 and 4 are silent. So I'll write those numbers up above here. Same thing would happen in the next measure. And we don't want to forget that line, holding out the half note. Let's try counting letter B. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 1, 1, 1. Notice I'm still only saying beat 1 because 2 is being held out and 3 and 4 are beats of silence. So I don't like to say any of the numbers if we're not actually playing them. I only like to say the number that we're attacking the note on. which happens to be beat 1. Now on line C, we're going to reverse it. And we're going to put the rest at the beginning of the measure, and the first 2 beats of a measure in 4/4 time. Well, first 2 beats in any measure are going to be 1 and 2. And then we have our half note. And if we've already done 1 and 2, the next number we would label would be 3. And then that holds through beat 4. So you get your line and your number above it. Same thing happens in the second measure. Excuse my handwriting. So in letter C, the number we're using is 3. We're holding through beat 4. Let's try counting letter C together. 1, 2, ready, and 3, 3, 3, 3. All right, now we're going to go on to letter D here, which is missing its rehearsal mark. And we're going to mix up when there's notes and rests now. I'm not going to write anything down here. And we're going to try counting letter D using what we learned on the first 3 lines. All right, let's go over it once. We have a half note on beat 1 that holds through beat 2. Half note on beat 3 that holds through beat 4. Now we have silence on 1 and 2, a half note on 3, which holds through 4. A half note on 1, which holds through 2, and silence on 3 and 4. A half note on 1, which holds through 2, and a half note on 3, which holds through 4. Let's try counting it together. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 3, 3, 1, 1, 3. How'd you do on that? If you think it went well, then you may have mastered half notes. If you're not so sure, then you can go ahead and rewind it and try letter D or any of the other examples again. Thanks so much. Hope that was helpful.